Today, healthier is happening at CVS Health in more ways than you've ever seen. It's wellness destinations for seniors, including select locations of Oak Street Health and CVS Pharmacy. It's doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and everyone in between, offering quality care and support virtually, in person, and on the phone. It's in-home evaluations through Signify Health and meeting mental health needs through Aetna. And those are just a few of the ways healthier is happening. To see more, visit cvshealth.com/healthier happens together. CVS Pharmacy, Oak Street Health, CVS Specialty, Signify Health, and Aetna are part of CVS Health. Eligibility and services vary by location and individual.
You are listening to the Bible 126 show.
Okay, here we go. Today's podcast topic is the woke mob, social justice warrior, cancel culture, and the good and bad and the ugly. Are they righteous, or are they the army of Satan? Let's discuss it. Before we dive into the debate, we first have to discuss each part of the opening statement was. We need to find out what these phrases actually mean. What is the definition of these phrases? So, before we get into the debate, we first need to discuss what they actually mean. What do these keywords actually mean? Okay, according to theconversation.com, what does the slang stay woke mean? In literal terms, being woke refers to being awake and not asleep. The Oxford Dictionary expanded its definition of the word woke in 2017 to add as an adjective meaning alert to injustice in society, or especially racism. Now, the downside for those who believe that they are woke, John Ringo in 2018, the phrase "get woke, go broke" originated from the paper by John Ringo that refers to a rise of organizations using political correct actions as part of their strategy, only for that result in a massive loss of income because they have abandoned mass reach. Now, this mentality, ideology of wokeness, this has happened before. It happened before I was born in a major worldwide way. Remember back in the 1930s when a leader in Germany called Adolf Hitler started publicly talking about economics, what's good for the Germans. And he turned to one group of people to blame. It was the Jews of Germany, and we all know what happened after that. It wasn't just Jews that were murdered in the camps. It was everybody that opposed to the direction, the dictation of Adolf Hitler himself and the Nazi regime. So, going woke has its repercussions. When you get on a mindset of what's wrong with the world, you get into the point of who's to blame. Now, this is part of the metaphors that Jesus Christ used when it comes to live by the sword or die by the sword. Part of what that means is attacking people. Yes. When you wake up to a particular topic and you decide to become a social justice warrior for that particular topic, yes, woke breeds social justice warriors. And those warriors are out there, they get so impassioned by their particular topic, it overcomes them. That's all they can think about. And a lot of times, these people are the ones you see in front of the camera, protest, burning down stuff, attacking people. Yes, social justice warriors are born out of wokeness. Now, here's the definition of cancel culture according to Wikipedia.org. Cancel culture or call-out culture is a modern form of ostracism in which someone is thrust out of social or professional circles, whether it be online, on social media, or in person. The expression cancel culture has mostly negative connotations and is used in debates on free speech and censorship. Now, according to dictionary.com, what is cancel culture dictionary terms? Cancel culture refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support for, canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being a form of social media and a form of group shaming. What does it mean to cancel someone? Now, according to Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, 2019, to cancel someone, actually a celebrity or a well-known figure, means to stop giving support to that person. The act of canceling could entail boycotting an actor's movies or no longer reading or promoting a writer's work. And that's where, when it comes to canceling someone, cancel culture, even us Christians have fallen into this mind play of canceling somebody by, like, say, for a celebrity who decides to support a particular political position. People say, we're going to boycott your movie. We're not going to go watch your movies or whatnot. That is a form of cancel culture. And even us Christians are even guilty of falling into this cancel culture trend. Now, here's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Whether it be driven by the elites practicing psychology and mind control, you could call MK Ultra, all these other alternate alt news terms that used to describe what's really going on in the world. And as I just said, even Christians fall into this wokeness, this cancel culture, social justice warrior, where you're in a form of activism. You are participating in these three forms of reaction to what's going on in the world in that form. Now, the good. Can good come about from people learning something new, taking action on that new information they came across, protesting what they think is wrong, deciding not to support somebody because they feel that you were on the wrong side of the topic? Sometime in our history, we have had many examples of people fighting out back against a power or authority that they disagree with. It's like the fall of the Roman Empire, where all the tribes in Europe decided to get together, and they, sometimes together or sometimes by themselves, attacked the Roman Empire until the Roman Empire eventually collapsed. Now, in modern times, yes, in the stock price of a company or their actual bottom line sales have been affected by the positions they take in the social cultural environment. The bad part of taking a position, whether it be political, spiritual, or let's say when it comes to we're going to have to cover this behavior, whether it be your sexual behavior, your behavior on promoting your point of view politically, evangelizing in public. All of this has an effect on others. And sometimes it can result in something bad. especially with these groups called Antifa and BLM, where they go out and protest. Many of them may be thinking they're doing good and they have no intentions of doing evil, committing crimes, or committing sin against others. But what do we see in the videos? We see violence. We see people screaming in other people's faces and not giving the opposition a moment to rebuke what they're saying. Now, when it comes to the ugly, we all seen the videos of people getting beat down in the streets, videos of people being beaten to death during protest. And like in a recent conversation, somebody brought up to me the January 6th, the insurrection. Well, that's what the left, the woke mob, tells you it was. It was a peaceful protest in most part. Did some people go inside the Capitol building? Yes. Were there ancient provocateurs paid to stir the pot? There's evidence for that too. Are people being tried on crimes that didn't even enter the Capitol building? Yes, that's become public too. Was the lady that inside the Capitol building that was shot by Capitol Police? Was that a staged event? Did it really happen the way we see it on video? There are people on both sides that will give you different viewpoints of how that happened. The bottom line is, insurrection, that label was put on that event by Democrats, by liberals, and the Republicans and the conservatives and the libertarians have a different point of view, saying it was a peaceful protest. But this is the ugly that happens when you fuel wokeness, when you fuel the cancel culture, when you fuel the social justice warrior segment of the population. Now, does the Bible talk about picking up the sword and fighting? Jesus said, live by the sword or die by the sword. What does Christianity really talk about? It's talking about the armor of God, not picking up the sword and attacking your enemy. It's really meaning taking on the protection of God in the name of Jesus Christ and evangelizing towards your enemy, showing them the love of God. You cannot bring somebody into heaven. You cannot bring them to salvation by attacking them. Another example of somebody in the past I've known, he tried to evangelize people all the time, and he did it in a really peculiar way. He would his first line of evangelizing is, "Are you paying your tithe?" Well, a lot of people are sensitive about giving to a church or whatnot. Now, that's getting a little off topic, but that's also about activism. A lot of people in the social justice warrior world believe in what they're protesting about. They believe in their activism. They don't see the people they're hurting when they invoke cancel culture. A lot of times, cancel culture, the ugly is, you are destroying that person publicly. You might run with a story about that person, not knowing whether it's actually true or not, but you're told it's true. You told this person really did this. And you go out there with the rest of the woke mob, and you go out there and you destroy that person. We don't know. A recent woke cancel culture social justice warrior was Coach Gruden, who was forced to resign from the football team that he coached about some statements he made in the past. I'm not going to attack Coach Gruden. There's a lot of players in the NFL, active or retired, that have high regard for Coach Gruden. But he is a victim of the cancel culture. The bottom line is there's not a human being on the face of the earth that hasn't doesn't have a skeleton in the closet that can be dragged out in public and be publicly shamed over what they did in the past. We all are guilty of doing something that the social justice mob can use against you. Now, getting to are they righteous? Are you righteous when you do these things? Are you acting as if you are part of Satan's army? Now, Lucifer loves it when one human being goes out and attacks another, especially when that person who's doing the attacking is doing it using negative tactics. Negative tactics, Jesus Christ would slap you in the face, figuratively, if he could. But Jesus knows that the love of the Father does not include slapping people in the face. Jesus taught about bringing him to the Father, showing the Father's love for them through love, not by attacking. Like I said before, we're all guilty of it. We've all done it in the past. We all have drawn conclusions about a person that might be accurate or may not be accurate. But we've drawn those conclusions, sometimes based on false information. That's where gossip is bad. A lot of us are guilty of that. But gossip is bad if you don't know the facts. Now, mainstream media, which is owned by a bunch of people, the higher-ups, the people who actually own and control those networks, most of them who own and control or have partial ownership and control of these networks are not Christians. You might think they are, but what God do they really worship? Not the God of Abraham, not the God of the Bible. There is a God of this world called Lucifer, Satan. But Lucifer, Satan, is not the God of the universe. He is not the one who rules in heaven. That is the Father in heaven, the Almighty. Now, another thing that I need to point out is on the subject of my previous podcasts, I have included different types of podcasts. Some of it is music. Some of it is sermons from others. Down the road for this particular podcast show, I would like to include sermons from preachers that nobody's ever heard of. These small-town preachers. To feature your sermon, you need to be preaching from the King James Bible and giving glory to Jesus Christ and the Father in heaven when you do it. But I am open to serving up sermons on this podcast from people, and I will give you credit. I will say, okay, this church is located in this area, and his contact information is such and such. I am open to giving a voice for these preachers that are not being heard. Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a website that you need to bring more voices, more ears to hear? I'm willing to help you on that. That's going forward. One of the things I want to accomplish with this ministry on this Bible 126 podcast. The other one, do you like the music that I feature on this podcast show? Do you want more of it? I am going to include a poll on this show. Yes or no? Do you want to hear more music on these podcasts? And according to trends, according to the analytics, because Anchor.fm is owned by Spotify. So, I have to be careful of how I word things in my podcast. Because, yes, there are some people who work for Spotify that are not happy that Joe Rogan's on their platform. Even though I understand the reason why Spotify wanted to buy exclusive rights to his broadcast. He's the biggest podcaster on the planet. Yeah, you want to bring the biggest dude in the world in this particular niche to your platform. But some of the people in Spotify that work for Spotify are not happy with that. Do I agree with everything that Joe Rogan I don't listen to very much of him, but some of the things I have listened to, I actually like the way he interviews people. He asks the tough questions. Now, on the question of the day for this podcast, what topics do you want me to feature on these future podcasts? What do you want me to explain? Do you want me to go forward with the mixture of sermons, my own personal podcast, and monologues like I'm doing now? Do you want to hear more music? What topics? Is there a particular book in the Bible that you want me to focus on? There's a lot of content to do, folks, and I would love it if I can bring more of you to this podcast, have you share it with others, and have a variety of content that you will be happy with. Now you can go to anchor.fm/Bible126. There's a link there for comments. The audio get the Anchor app on your phone. You can submit a voice message. Now, keep it clean, and I will listen to the trolls. But if the message is not appropriate for a broadcast, it will not be included. If you want your message included in a podcast and it's appropriate for that podcast, I will include it. Now, there is a support page. Now, there are a few people on Anchor.fm that have are making a full-time living now, because that's all they do now is podcasts. It's kind of like streamers on Twitch and YouTube. To go full-time, you need an income source from that content and to enable you to go full-time. I would rather do that than work gigs with multiple companies to earn this daily money that I have to earn to pay the bills. So if you want to support me, go to the support page on Anchor.fm, Bible 126. Click on that support page and put support. And in the future, I am going to, in these audios, I am going to include my PayPal.me link. I think in the show notes, I am going to put that link. So if you want, I'm going to call that, the tip jar, the PayPal.me tip jar. So if you just want to make a one individual donation to help me, like say if there's a new piece of equipment that can help me do this show better, or new research, or maybe there's a book I need to read that will add to the content of this podcast, I'll be happy to do that. But when it comes to resources, the software I am using is Adobe Audition, which costs money. Basically, everything you do in life, there comes with a cost to it. So, in closing, I'm going to end this monologue podcast with, please support me if you wish to. Share this podcast with others, because I got a lot more content coming. And if you wish to reach out to me, like I said, right now in this podcast, I'm just going to use the Bard messaging service to do that. I'm recording this on a Sunday, and y'all have a blessed day, and I hope you enjoyed this show, and I have more content coming. And let's face it, folks, it's not just me. There's a lot more people in this world that need to be heard. And if you don't have a big enough voice, if you think my podcast can help you be heard, please reach out to me. I am open and willing to help you if it mutually benefits me in my podcast and mutually benefits you. May God bless you. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.